The amazing thing is, in my time in the congregation, Suzanne Obeah has sort of become much more known. I think Jessie writing the book has done amazing things for us, but also the interest in the medicines is something that's brought her alive to us. It was, we heard the story of her trouble with the business, and she wasn't prepared to let big business dominate how she did it, so she pulled out of producing the medicines. But this whole interest in herbs and native recipes and the combining of the two, and it was another point in which we met another culture. And that's come into our lives, and I think that's something that's handed on her. There's just, I think she was a very ahead of her time in her ideas of education, and in the early days, even religious life. She wasn't all for having sisters in habits. The reason that we had to go into a religious habit was because of the church and the religious men who couldn't cope with women who weren't in them. But it wasn't a problem to her. So many of these things which have happened today could have happened in her day if it was over to her. So I suppose, yes, it's her vision is being worked out into the future, isn't it? When you get people who are visionaries, they don't often see it in their time fulfilled. But if she came back today, she'd see a lot of things, I would think, that have been fulfilled. Yeah. It's amazing how it's handed on, isn't it? It's something, as they say, that's caught and not taught. It's something that we have learnt from the older sisters. They have passed it down to us. There's so many different aspects, isn't there? There's the spirituality of the woman who was prepared to persevere through all the difficulties. And I think that is a challenge for us, because so many people, when things get difficult, think, oh, well, they can't be bothered. But when you look at Mother Obeah's life, she did persevere through the difficulties. And the difficulties don't change. That's another interesting thing I find when I look at the things on the agenda of my day, and I read back of the things that she was concerned about in her day. They're exactly the same. And we're still, dealing with builders and architects and professional people. And also the dealing with sisters and their the challenges in their life are the same as what happened back then. And sometimes that really amazes me, because we go back and we look at records way back of what the sisters were doing on and the records that they kept. And I thought, well, isn't this amazing? 50 years ago or 70 years ago, it's just the same. Yeah, so, but it's like having that reassurance, somebody's actually walked this journey before and they persevered through the challenges that are there. And we're certainly facing a lot of challenges today. I think often people feel that religious are pious people, the good sisters. And then they get quite a surprise to find that you can be smart or quite streetwise. I think they think that you're born in a convent, but in actual fact, not only were you not born in the convent, but you certainly can experience an awful lot of life by being in one. Now, it may not be the first-hand experience of going out there and it happening to you, but the stories that come to you keep you well informed as to what goes on. And well, this is it. The people bring life to us, and of course now that we're not so confined into a building, we can also go out to the people, so you see life. And I guess we have always associated with people who have found life difficult, So we've had families where they maybe have split up and we've taken and cared for the children. We've had families where a parent has been ill or something's happened to the father, or it's like when a mother came to the door with two children that we were to care for, and I asked her the name of their father. Well, this was a father for this one and a father for that one, type of thing. And so whatever's happening out there is brought in here, and so we're part of life, not just the spiritual part of life, which we try to combine both, to accept everything in that light. But yes, it's quite interesting. So yes, we visit in prisons and we work with the Maori people. We're trying to make a shift from what used to happen, where we tried to teach them our ways. Now we're sort of looking at standing alongside them and letting them teach us their ways, and trying to look more at partnership where we can help one another. And I think that's illustrated in Jerusalem, where they may now need people with business skills to show them how to run businesses, not to do it for them, but just to help them compile letters or look at strategic plans or business plans. The way Sue contributes is quite different from the early sisters up the river, who would be just teaching them in school or looking after their health, and they would come along to clinics and things like this. And that still can be a spin-off, but it's not as it used to be. But I always think the most important thing is we can't do anything for anybody unless we can receive something from them. And I think it's the same with caring for handicapped people. If you just think that you're caring for them and that's great, you miss the whole point of it. I think it's learning that handicapped or people with disabilities, they've got so much to teach us about life, and they do, and we're very privileged to being able to be part of their lives. And I think that's the same with other cultures, and that Sisters of Compassion have been very privileged to be part of the Maori culture in a hands-on sort of a way, because I suppose our congregation has always been hands-on, practical, down-to-earth sort of approach. So yes, there's all that richness that we've been able to be part of if we're open to pick it up. Some people can, some people can't, but it's there if you're prepared to accept that people are going to give you as much as you can give them.